Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar, Stayntouch Product Enhancements, version 5.89, Remove Report, Promotions and Newsletter Opt-in, and more, presented by Stayntouch Implementation Consultant Victor Azul. I'm your host, Erin Fisher, the content writer here at Stayntouch. Today's presentation will cover how you can get the most out of the Stayntouch PMS version 5.89 product release. In this webinar, we will cover the following enhancements: the add-on production report, remove report, auto-populate city and state based on postal code, promotions and newsletter opt-in, taxes automatically expanded when opening a charge code, action void bill and action void bill and repost bill permissions, commissions, the retain filter selection, updated city tax display and extended tax breakdown for invoices, our new API integrations, CRS updates, Revenate updates, and group allotment hold status for multi-property configuration. We'll have a short Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Feel free to submit questions throughout the presentation, and we will answer them in the order they're received at the end. And that's all I have, Victor. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
And then Erin, if you can just confirm, you can see my screen, which would be the Stayntouch dashboard.
Correct.
Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and get started, everyone. We are covering today the feature releases for our new release version 5.89. The first topic we're going to cover is regarding reports. So we have two new reports that we are releasing here. The first one is called an add-on production report. From this report, again, you should be familiar with this already. We're going to go into the menu item here, reports, and then new report here. You can now run an add-on production report, which will display the add-on count and add-on revenue per day for past reservations so that you can see how well an add-on are selling here. So it's right here at the very top already. I can obviously search for it under the search field here, but it's called the add-on production report. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I'm going to select a date range here. Again, let's just do something maybe like, we'll do for last month. Let's see what kind of data pulls up. I'll leave all these other parameters blank. I mean, you do have the option if you're wishing to select a particular add-on, you can do that, or an add-on group as well here. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and click Run Report, similar to my other reports. I'm going to go to my inbox here. Again, I do have that in progress selection there, so I'm just going to click this refresh button until I am able to download or print this report here. I also can obviously click into this report and view all my data on this. So in this case, I just have my resort fee listed as an add-on here. I did run this the other day, so let's see another one that I ran yesterday that probably has more information here. So this again is going to be the add-on production report here, where I do, in this case, I ran it for a longer date range so that I do have more of the different add-ons that I have available at my property here. Now this report can also be scheduled as well. So again, if you wanted to go into the reports, schedule a report / export, and I click on the new report schedule here, I will see that add-on production report as well. So it's something that you could receive on a monthly, quarterly basis, however, when you do want to review the production of those add-ons here. The second report that got released, and quite a few properties have requested something similar to this, it's going to be that move room report. The room move report is going to be, again, found under the same section here. So I'm going to go into the menu here, reports, I'm doing a menu report. And either, again, I could search for it or I can just scroll down to it, but it's going to be called the room move report. I'm going to go and select that. Let's go ahead and select the date range there. Let's just do October here. Again, I have the opportunity to select if I want a particular room type, or I can select all here, and I'm just going to leave it as all here, and I'll keep the date as like current date here. I'm going to go ahead and run report. I'm going to go to my inbox here. I have the opportunity to download or print this report here, or I could click directly into it, and it is an intuitive interactive report. So I only have one guest here that was moved. I will see where they were moved from and then moved to, and who also moved it, who at the property moved that guest from one room to the other. I did also run this report yesterday. Let me just see if I have this other one that has more data in it. So again, I just have another guest here that I can see they moved from 213 and then we moved them to 226 here. So this is the new second report that got released, which is the room move report. Now this report currently right now cannot be scheduled. So it's something that you need to run however frequently you want to view this, at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, things like that. So currently right now it is not a scheduled report, but maybe that will be another feature that gets released, that this will be an opportunity to be a scheduled report here. Again, this is a room move report here. Room move report, and then again, I just went over to add a production report here. All right, switching topics from the reports here. The next topic we're going to talk about today is going to be related to the card. So this is in regards to the guest card as well as the company travel agency card. And with this new feature, we released something called auto-populate city and state based on the postal code. So this is a feature that currently needs to be enabled by Stayntouch admin. So if this is a feature that you want to release or enable at your property, please reach out to customer support and they will be able to enable it on your behalf here. So with this enablement of this feature here, again, it's done by S&T admin on the back end of the system. You'll have the opportunity to populate a zip code and it will automatically fill in the city and state here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a guest card here. Pull up the mine one here. But right now I'm just going to delete this here, the zip code here. So with this new feature here, once it's enabled, all I need to do is type in a zip code here. And that will automatically populate the city and state here. Same functionality will work when you are on a travel agency card or a company card as well here. So when this feature is enabled, the following functionality will apply. As you just saw right now, when I enter the zip code on the guest card, the state is automatically completed based on the location services used. The city is automatically completed based on the location services used as well. The state can be edited after it's been auto-populated. So if this was incorrect or I need to change the state, I can adjust that or override this. Same thing with the city. The city can be edited by the user after it's been auto-populated as well here. Now, if the previous data is present, the fields will be overwritten. So for example, if I did have a different city here and it did not match whatever the postal code I entered, the postal code will override whatever that city is that was previously there. Now, this functionality also works, again, as I mentioned, on company and travel agency cards. So if I go into revenue management here, company and TA cards here, just going to go ahead and pull up card here. If I enter that zip code here again, it automatically populates the city and state here. Same functionality that the state will automatically be completed based on the location service. Same thing with the city. And again, you can override both the city and the state here if you wish to. Now, if the postal code is invalid, is entered, you'll get an error message at the top of the screen that says the invalid postal code. So again, you're not able to enter, it has to be a valid postal code in order for it to populate the city and the state. And again, if it is an invalid postal code, you will get an error message. All right, jumping over to our next topic here is going to be related to stationery. Now, with this new feature with stationery, we released something called promotion and newsletter opt-in tab in both the stationery checkbox for guest mobility and our kiosk feature here. We've added this opt-in feature, promotions and newsletter, as a checkbox separate from the terms and conditions. So with this feature here, if you navigate to the menu here, settings and settings again here, and then we go to hotel and staff, and then we go to stationery here. We've added this new feature called promotions and newsletter opt-in. With this feature here, you're able to add this new promotion newsletter opt-in similar to the terms and conditions to the different settings within Stayntouch. So you have the opportunity to select it for the registration card, the kiosk, the guest web check-in, which is the mobile check-in piece, or the confirmation letter as well. And what this will do, this will display a visible checkbox and email subscription option for promotions and newsletter opt-in. Again, with the Stayntouch guest kiosk and the Stayntouch guest mobility, there's a dynamic field where the users will be prompted to add their email address and subscribe to the newsletter or promotion here. The promotion newsletter tab is visible when the opt-in is enabled from the settings, cards, and guest card fields here. So this is one portion of setting this up here. The second part of it is obviously under your cards here, and then your guest card fields here, and then opting in for that newsletter feature here. And the way that this is going to look here, so it's going to be called opt-in here. So you want to just make sure you toggle that on here. And the way that this looks on the guest mobility and on the kiosk feature here is that with the kiosk, you'll get this new prompt that will populate that will ask if the guest wants to opt in for the promotion and newsletter opt-in. They can click yes. And then on the guest mobility piece as well, they'll have an option to select with the checkbox for promotions and newsletters. Obviously, you can run exports and reports and gather this information if you are going to be using any kind of promotions or newsletters that you'll be reaching out to the guests based on their email that they provide here as well. All right, moving on from stationery here, we're going to talk about the next feature that got released within Stayntouch, and that is regarding financials. So this is on the back end of the system. So if you do have access to the back end of the system, if you go into your financials here and in your charge codes here, previously the taxes were condensed, so you didn't really know which taxes were being applied to the charge codes that you assigned them to. With this new feature, the taxes are automatically expanded when opening a charge code. So as you can see, I have my room charge code here. If I click on the 1000 one here, these taxes are automatically expanded here. And again, like as I mentioned before, these were previously collapsed. So you had to click onto each one to see what the tax was. And now you're able to see it automatically expanded here. Again, this is permission based. So if you do have access to the back end of the system where you deal with a lot of financials and adding charge codes, you'll be able to view this. Going along with financials here, another feature that got released is related to the option to, and it's a permission based, the action void bill and action void bill and repost bill permissions here. So there's a new permission that got released here under hotel and staff and permissions here. Just going to go to hotel admin, and it's called void. So you have the option to action void bill and action void and repost bill. Now this is very property specific. Not a lot of properties utilize this feature here. I know in some of our European countries like Austria and Switzerland, they're not allowed to make adjustments to a bill after someone has checked out. So this is where they would go ahead and just void that bill and then be able to add a new bill with the correct postings for that particular guest here. So this is the two permissions that need to be granted. Again, the action of capabilities of voiding a bill needs to be activated first for your property as well here. And this is what the functionality will look like here. So you'll get a window that pops up that will say, you know, either if you have the permission, you'll be able to void the bill or void and repost the correct charges for that bill. Or if you do not have the permission, you'll have a notification that pops up that says you don't have the permission to void here. So again, very country specific here. Not a lot of our properties utilize the void bill option here. They would just go ahead and adjust off whatever those charges are on the bill. But again, some of our European countries, it's not legal to remove things after a guest is checked out. So in their case, they would have to void that bill and then repost it all together here. Note on that, both permissions will be granted to all user groups by default. So for user groups that are not permitted to perform a void or void and repost, the respective permissions should be manually revoked from that user group. So again, it will be a permission granted, but if you do not want to grant that permission, you would just have to remove it from the permission section here. All right, jumping over next to something related to our commissions, where we retain the filter selection. So again, if you're a property that uses Stayntouch for the commissions module here, if I navigate to the financials here, and then I go into commissions here, the filters will be retained when navigating to one of the records and back to the commission screen. Filters will be cleared when navigating out of the commission screen entirely. So again, if I set some filters here, for example, and I go ahead and click on one of my travel agencies here, maybe I'm going to go ahead and mark some of these as paid or just review when I do need to pay out to this travel agency. When I go back to the commissions section here, the filters will still be in place here. Where prior to before it would reset, you now have the flexibility or capabilities now that it will default to whatever those previous filters were already set for. All right, next topic here is going to be related to tax invoices here. So I'll just explain this and related to the invoices updated with the extended tax breakdown. We have updated an extended tax breakdown to show the tourist tax in the gross and net columns and not add to the tax column. The tourist tax calculation has not been affected by this update. It's only extended tax breakdown that has been updated. So if you do utilize a tax breakdown with your invoices, instead of it showing the tourist tax combined with all the taxes, it's now a separate line item that shows tourist tax listed on there. The next thing I'm going to talk about here is some new API integrations that we released. So again, if these are some integrations that you're interested in, they will be on the release notes that will be shared, as well as you can reach out to customer support if you're interested in any of these new API integration vendors that we are integrated with now. The first one is something called Birdeye. Birdeye allows live chat with guests, in-house guests, automated reviews, requests via MMS, and then a social media integration as well. Another one, API integration, a new vendor for us is Engage. Engage is an end-to-end solution driving continuous revenue, employment engagement, and top-tier service on the hotel frontline. Next one is called Send Squared. Send Squared allows personalized emails and text messages campaigns that drive revenue at scale, amongst other things. That's one of the features that they are known for. Intello is another new API integration for us. It's a network solution here that does fast internet and reliable internet service here, high bandwidth for properties, design of next generation network as well here, and that's Intello. PlusGrade is a hotel upselling platform here. They allow premium upgrade, stay extension, stay plus. So again, if that is something you're interested in, feel free to reach out to our customer support. The next one is called IB Sales and Catering with Financial App. This allows revenue posting via the IB app for Stayntouch and PMS sales transactions. They also allow zero balance posting. This will be used for zero balance accounts, and IB will send Stayntouch PMS the sales transactions with a negative sales transaction, so the due balance will be zero. Next one is called Safara. It's a booking platform where the guest can make bookings and receive cash back to pull towards future trips. Next one is called TMG OneView by Travel Media Group. This is a reputation. We currently had this integration before, but it was done via exports. Now it is an API integration. This allows for, again, those reputation management for surveys and whatnot. And that is TMG OneView by Travel Media Group. The next one's CorePark. CorePark is a valet service, parking service here. They allow real-time vehicle tracking, they contactless payment solutions, guest app or e-tickets and payments, comprehensive reporting as well through their platform as well, and that is CorePark. And the last two, not really API related, but they are updates to the messaging being sent over for different integrations that we have. One is for our central reservation systems. They now accept the travel agency ID that's now going to be stored on the travel agent card, the same way the data is stored on the travel agent card. And the next one is related to our CRM integration with Revenate. When a reservation is checked out and a message is sent to Revenate group by category, the users are able to sync stays history. The message contains all revenue details from the reservation. To start sending this message, which is the feature toggle, please reach out to, again, Stayntouch and Revenate to enable this new feature here, which just, again, allows that data for checkout. And then the last feature I'm going to be talking about is geared towards the multi-property functionality. So these are for any of our properties that are utilizing a multi-property configuration within Stayntouch here. If I'm going to move over to my other property here, I'm logged in as a multi-property user here. So as you can see, I do have access to all three of my properties here. The new template that got released with the multi-property functionality here is for group and allotment hold status here. So if I navigate to the configuration section here, go into my reservations here, I have a new tile here called hold statuses here. Oh, let me enter my password here. Give me a second. So let me go back here. So I have my default cancel indefinite here. I can create a new template here. And let's say we're going to create a new one called tentative. I have the options similar to if you're used to your standalone properties, that you have the options for take inventory from group only, from allotment. We'll do a from inventory. And then once I have this created, I'll be able to select, is it going to be applied to all my properties under my chain here, or just selected properties? If I select selected properties, maybe I'm just going to enable this at toggle here, so I can go ahead and select that here. Otherwise, again, it's default all properties. I'll go ahead and create that hold status template. Currently, right now, it's syncing. That means it's being created in all of those properties that I have here, which are those 3 properties here. And then once this does sync, it will be available on the chain level here. So again, I can have the opportunity, if I want to mark this and add it to the chain template, meaning that this can be used for future properties that I add to my chain. I can be able to use this template by just selecting it and enabling it for those properties. I also have the opportunity here, if I wanted to delete this from the chain template. So if I click on it again, I can remove it from the chain templates, and it will no longer be applicable for future properties that I add to my chain here. All right, that is the last feature in regards to our new release version 5.89. I'm going to hand this back to Erin.
All right, thank you so much, Victor. And I'd like to answer some questions. Remember, you can submit questions in the middle panel on the control panel. So we have one question from Julie. How do we enable this? Julie, would you mind clarifying which item you're referring to? Just give her a few seconds to enter that answer. Julie, would you mind clarifying which feature you're referring to? All right, well, Julie is typing that answer. We have a question from Allison. The release notes indicated new sort and filter features for the dashboard files that would be implemented by the end of January. Do you have additional details on when we can expect that? Yeah, so we're doing a staggered approach to that. So it will be rolled out for all hotels by the end of January. And then Danielle says, will we have access to this webinar? Yes, all webinar recordings are published on the knowledge base. So you'll see that shortly after the webinar. And Julie responded, the zip code. So that has to be enabled by Stayntouch admin. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to us. Keith asks, is there an option to add a comment section to the room move report? It would be ideal to see why the room was moved. We can definitely bring up that suggestion to our product team. If you want to submit a feature request on our support portal, we can consider that. All right. And then Allison asks, any additional API options for gift card purchase and tracking? Right now, GiveX is our only gift card integration. So that's it right now. Jennifer asks, can you auto-populate the address for the companies that already have TA cards? So yes, you can auto-populate that, but you'd have to go in and edit the existing TA card and re-enter the zip code, and then it'll auto-populate that. But this has to be enabled first. So if you want that enabled for your property, you'll have to reach out to support. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions. I'll give everyone a few more seconds to enter anything. Jennifer asks, is it just for the zip code? Yeah, so the zip code auto-populate is just for that. All right, I don't see any other questions. So let me go ahead and share my screen. One moment. All right, so in this webinar, we reviewed the following enhancements: the add-on production report, the remove report, how to auto-populate city and state based on postal code, the promotions and newsletter opt-in, taxes automatically expanded when opening a charge code, the action void bill and repost bill permissions, how to retain filter selection on the commission screen, updated city tax display and the extended tax breakdown for invoices, our new API integrations, some CRS updates, as well as revenue updates. And then finally, we covered group and allotment hold status for multi-property configuration. With that, I'd like to conclude our presentation. Thank you all for coming. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to email me at erin.fisher@stayntouch.com. Thanks again.